Python.
Yes.
Okay, great. So, hello everyone. Uh, Thank you for being here. It's a real pleasure to present to you this the work I've been working on this week. I will present myself in the first place. So let's not wait. So, as Kitu said, my name is George Rahal, Georges Rahal in French accent. I live in France near Paris. And I'm a data scientist I've been a data scientist for the last 3 years, and I've been working in algorithmic trading for the last year, a bit more than a year now. So I saw a link on LinkedIn to this WhatsApp group. I joined it, and I think it was Kitu who asked me if I could present a topic, and I find it very interesting. So I said yes, and here we are today. I just wanted to do some stats, but I think the conversation is not working. I don't know if it's normal.
Chat will not work. So basically, you can share it in the WhatsApp group if there is anything you want to say, I guess.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if people are experienced in Python and finance. So maybe in the WhatsApp group.
Maybe they can
Uh,
also, if you want to
yeah.
ask someone, they can just do it using mic or reaction as well. That's not
Okay.
an issue. Yeah.
Yes. So what I wanted to know if is, for example, how many years in finance do you have, and in what field? What's the main field you work in? For example, five options or five crypto spot trading, something like this. Just so that I have an idea what you're working in. So if someone wants to start, uh, is it supposed to be by vocal, right? It's supposed to be by vocal, unless I understood it wrong.
Just a minute, Jose. People, we would request you if you can share your experience in Python as per
Yes.
this question, and I would really appreciate if you respond from your side as well. Otherwise, it becomes one side session, so it won't be that fruitful. So please participate in the session.
Yeah,
Yes.
hello.
Hi.
Yeah, so my name is Divyanshu, and
Mm-hmm.
I basically have experience in backtesting and deploying strategies in options and
Okay.
commodities from different brokers like IBKR and Indian brokers like Zerodha or Angel One or Forex like XNex. That's
Okay.
pretty much my experience.
Okay, great. Thanks. Let's have two or three more, and then we can start. Don't be shy.
So I'm not ex hello everyone.
Hello, hello.
So I'm not exactly working related to the trading part, but my work is handling the trading system where the trades are captured. So I don't create strategy as such, but I kind of handle the system for it. So we handle the trades for multiple commodity options and futures deals, and there are a lot more contracts there as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. The last one?
Hello everyone. My name is Abhishek.
Yes.
So I'm an aspirant of quant trader as of now. I do not work in it. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
data engineer having 5 years
Mm-hmm.
of experience in SQL and Python.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah,
Welcome for
thank
everyone,
you.
and thank you for being here. So let's start the topic right now. I will turn off the camera so that you can concentrate on Python. Okay. So I suppose you can still hear me well. Um, are you still seeing my screen? Yes, you can see my screen just here. Okay. So let's begin talking about Python and trading. So first of all, I'll talk about the tools I'm using in my daily life as a algorithmic trader and even my personal life. So I'm mainly working on Python on Jupyter notebook and Spider. So this is Spider, a tool, and this is Jupyter, a tool. Everyone that's using Python may know them already. So if you want to use these two tools, you can just download Anaconda. You'll have them both installed. Just check the link first if it's okay in other countries. I don't know how it really works in other countries, but yeah, Anaconda has everything in it. I've also added some links if you wanted to learn some Python, because I know that in finance there's a lot of C, C++, even Rust, or any language really. So here's a link to learn Python, and more precisely to learn pandas, to manipulate data frames. So basically data, and it's very important to learn pandas if you're working with Python really in any field. Okay, so here's for the links. So our topic today will be about backtesting crypto spot strategies, and for this we will first head to on TradingView. I'll just turn this off. 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So TradingView was the first website on which I started looking at crypto prices, forex prices, and even commodities, anything really. It has everything in it. Most of you must know it, and those that don't know it, well, it's basically free. It's free. You can have a free version. You can search for anything, gold, really anything. I mainly use it for crypto. Okay. So when I started my journey in crypto, my first question was, this data, I'm able to put indicators on it like this via TradingView, but how can I take this data and put it in Python so that I can analyze it in Python? So those of you who know the answer already have API in their minds. So Binance, which is an exchange of crypto, a website where you can buy and sell crypto, has an API. Basically, an API is it's a messenger. You can see it as a messenger that will deliver you information. You will ask it for information, it will give you information. If you want to take data from Binance, the Binance exchange, I invite you to go on this GitHub page, which is really well done. It uses the Binance API. Everything is really well explained. So basically, you create an account on Binance. You just click the link, then you generate your API keys. So API key and API secret, and you can use the Binance API in Python for free. And I've never reached the limits of this code, so it's really great. So basically, what here is doing is connecting to the exchange. You can withdraw your money, you can deposit money, get historical data, send orders, buy, sells, anything via Python. So that's really great. Yes, that's great. So once you have installed it and it's ready to use, by the way, I won't be going into too much detail since we don't have a lot of time. But once you have installed it, you can basically use it whenever you want. So I didn't really think about it much. I just copied the code that was here. I just copied the code, I generated my API keys, and here I am using Python Binance. So if I take, for example, 3 years, BTC USDT in, you can choose the interval you want. So, sorry, 1 hour, here is, for 3 years, and here it's launched. It will take just a few seconds, and you will have 3 years of 1 hour candlesticks, which is really great. And there are no limits. I've never reached the limits, at least. And once you have it, you can just process it a little bit, because here it's lists. No, lists of lists. Each list has a timestamp, a price, several prices, and few more indicators like volumes and number of buyers and so on. So we will only be using open, high, low, close, volume, and the date. So we will have this actually. This is the frame. I will send you my GitHub at the end so that you can use this code. If you're having some troubles using the API, don't worry, the data is on GitHub and it's readable here, the same data that I launched above. So here we can read data. And there it is, we have it. We have our GitHub, no, trading view is here. So we have 3 years of 1 hour candlesticks. The data for each candle that you can see here, open, high, low, close. So B and C is in French, bas, clôture. But this candlestick, for example, has an open of 94,236 and a close at 94,570. Okay, so we have 3 years of this data. Now that's great. I could, oh, sorry, see some messages. Someone is asking the depth. So it will be for beginners, indeed. It is for beginners. So beginners is a big word. If you know how to use Python and if you have a little bit of understanding in trading, you will know how you will be okay in this session. If you have no experience in Python, I invite you to later learn a little bit of Python and especially pandas. It will be very helpful for you. It will be very beneficial to trade with Python, but maybe, I mean, of course, it can still work with other languages. But I will keep going. Okay. So once we have the data, we will start adding some indicators. Suppressing this drawing. Okay. So the basic idea in trading is I want to buy low and sell high. This is spot trading. I want to buy around here, for example, sell here, or around here and sell here. Buy low, sell high. How do you do this? Well, and unless you can see the future, you must use indicators, at least for beginners. And the very first indicators that you will learn are simple moving averages, for example. So what's a simple moving average? So there's average in the word, so it will calculate a mean. Here you can see there's a 200 period, which means that the value that is here in the curve will take the last 200 candles and calculate the average close price. So it would just calculate the average close price each hour. Now the problem with this is that it's laggy. What does laggy mean? It means that when the price goes up, the moving average will take some time to go up. It's slow. You see here, it's very slow. So a better version of the SMA, the simple moving average, is the EMA, exponential moving average. So if I plot the exponential moving average with the same period, you will see that it reacts quicker. It reacts way quicker than the SMA. Why? Because there is more weight on the recent candles than the previous candles, the old ones. The formula for the EMA is right here in the links, right here in Investopedia, which is a nice website. So as I said, I won't be going into too much details, but yeah, the EMAs are quite good to detect tendencies, trends. Up until now, is everything okay? I mean, if someone has some problems, don't hesitate to speak. Put thumbs or something. Yes, someone wants to talk, I think. So, okay, I think you wanted to put a thumb in. Okay, great. Don't hesitate. So, once that we have our data that is here, we will use EMAs to detect trends. That's one of the basic trading strategies, the one that I started with. It was not great, but it's okay to understand algorithmic trading. So, what I do here is plotting 4 EMAs, 4 exponential moving averages. One that has a great period, 200 on 200 candles. One that has 100 period, a 50 period, and a 9 period. So the 9, the green one, is very sensitive. The price moves, it moves. The 200 is a bit less sensitive, so it's less sensitive. It will not follow the price so closely. See? So you put the 4 EMAs, and the first strategy will be to buy when they are all the 4 in a certain order. So the biggest one is the lowest, the 200 is below, then you have the 100, then the 50, and finally the 9. So when you have them all in this order, you can basically buy here, something like here, at the close price. So here. It's a green candle, so it closes above, and well. So we basically buy at 73,000. You let the price go up, and once there's a crust down like this, you sell. That's our first strategy that we will be using. So once again, some professional traders will laugh at this strategy because it's a bit too basic, but we're not trying to do perfect trading strategies. We're trying to present to you guys what at least how I started trading and how to use data and put it in Python. Okay, so simple strategy. Let's start implementing it. So first of all, I want to make a small comment on ChatGPT, which is a very nice tool if you know how to use it. ChatGPT will help you a lot when you will ask him some clever questions. The thing is that ChatGPT will do exactly what you tell him to do. So if you tell him to do this and that, he will do this and that, but without telling you that there's a better option. Okay, this is why I suggest that you first learn the theory without ChatGPT. Just learn the theory and practice with Python, and then when you are comfortable with using all these strategies, you can use them. You can use ChatGPT to win some time, to not lose time at least. Okay, so how to use ChatGPT? Well, very simple. I just tell him I have the data frame with open, high, low, close volume, and I want an EMA. So of course we could calculate the EMA ourselves without using ChatGPT, but as I said, you will lose time, one, and two, the libraries you're using, pandas for example, have already optimized functions. So the function that you will develop will most likely be slower than the one that pandas has. If you go 3 seconds, see the formula of the EMA. Okay, let's take the one below. Where was it? Never mind. We'll take this one. Okay. So you see this formula that you have to calculate at each row. So what I started doing is a for loop, and for each row, you will calculate the EMA. So for each row of your data frame, which by the way has 26,000 rows, you will calculate the EMA. But that's a big loss of time. It's really slow. where pandas has already this function. So let's see what ChatGPT tells us. Here. So I have a data frame, open, hello, close volume. He understands. You don't have to be very precise. Called df, because I don't want him to put an enormous code with another data frame name. So I have to change each name every time. Called df. I want to calculate the EMA for a list of periods, which means that if I have a list like 5, 10, 50, and 100, I want the 5, 10, 50, and 100 EMA periods in my data frame. And return my data frame with EMA columns. I want a function, let's be a bit more precise, that calculates. Okay, let's see what he gives us. While he is generating the code, I will just give you a little tip. I've seen a lot of people not use ChatGPT, which is a shame because he can really give you some nice ideas, and yeah, not lose time. Win time. Time is money, especially in trading. Okay, so here's the code. Nice little code. Let's take it and see what it does. So I will put a small cell here that I will later erase. So you have a data frame, as I told him, and you have a list of periods. And he will take each period and he will calculate the exponential moving average using this method that is already implemented in pandas. You see? So if you would have done this work, it's great. And actually, you have to do it at least once so you understand the formula. But don't do it each time because it will be very slow. There's a problem here. Okay. I think it was common. Okay, so df EMAs will be equal to calculate EMA for my data frame df, and I will give him some periods like 5, 10, 50. Okay. And what's df EMAs? What does it look like? Here you have your 5, 10, and 50 EMA columns. So as you can see at the first row, all the values are the same. That's because you don't have enough look back to make to calculate a real exponential moving average, which means that for the EMA5, you have to wait till 5 periods to have your real EMA5. Okay, let's take 10 rows. There you go, 5, 10, 50. So now basically, by having Jupyter and access to the Binance API, you are able to plot, to get at least the candlesticks data and plot some EMAs on it. So that's a nice start. You have this, you can start to implement this simple strategy to buy here and sell here. Okay, so I will remove this function because I already have it. I already asked ChatGPT to give me everything. Everything is here. Here's the function, it's the same. As I told you, it will be on my GitHub that I will share with you. So you will be able to look in it and take it and play with it and do whatever you want. Okay, so let's continue. So I have a YAML file. In case you don't know, YAML are just a file to store parameters or small data like this. It's like a JSON, but the difference with the JSON is that with YAML you can do several types of parameters. For example, if you want just one variable, you can do a equals a 2.5. So now when you read your YAML, you will have the variable a that will have the value 5. If you want a list, it's going to be something like this. So EMA4 is a list that contains 200, 250, and 300. If you want a dictionary, or like a JSON, something like a JSON for those who don't know Python, you will do C 2 points and A 2 points 1, 1 and 2, B, and so on and so on. Okay. So YAML are really good files. I like them because they are very easy to use and very efficient. If you want to create a YAML and you have never used one, so you just create a small notepad like this. You name it as you want. Config file, and just remove the txt to put YAML instead. Yes, and there you go. You have your YAML. That's fair. Okay. Now, why do I have this YAML with for the start EMA 1, 2, 3, and 4? Well, because here I have plotted the 9, 50, 100, and 200. But what happens if I change the periods of these four? If I put, for example, 250, you see it will change a bit. If I put 40 here, for example, so the face, not the real face, the four EMAs will change the style, its style, and so the trades will change. You see here, I think we can go a bit one candlestick behind to enter the trade. So just by changing your EMA periods, you can enter a trade earlier, or if you don't do it the right way, you will enter it later. That's not good. Okay. So in order to test different periods, I took my 4 EMAs, and for each EMA, I gave it several periods. So here you have 3 periods per EMA, which is not a lot. In order to backtest, you need to have way more than that. But I want my code to finish within this hour period that I have. So I took 3 per EMA. A little pause to drink water. Break. There you go. So is everything okay up till now? Okay, great. Great. Don't hesitate to type questions. I will see them if you type them in WhatsApp. Okay. Let's continue. So going back to my code. Okay. So here I will read the YAML file. I will just read it. Have a quick look at it. Okay. I'll put this next to it so that you can see what it looks like. So EMA1 is a list with 5, 10, 15. So here's EMA1. It's a list. Same thing for the EMAs 2, 3, 4, Bollinger Bands, so on, so on. So here you have a variable, which is like this, just like this. Another list, and maybe I can show you if I put a dict as I put it before. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'll read it again. And there you have it. You have your JSON. I'm saying JSON because there are some people that don't do Python and they may not know what a dictionary is. So I'll remove it. Okay, reading again, and we have our data. So now what do I want to do? I want to take, excuse me, I want to take my 4 EMAs, so the one with its periods, the two with periods, and so on, and I want to calculate every period in my data frame. Why? Because if I'm doing a backtesting, so I'm backtesting for several versions, several periods, I don't want to recalculate the same thing several times. It will be costly. So I will just calculate everything before backtesting, and then when I'm backtesting, I will just select a column. Hope it makes sense. So let's go. Oh, problem. Calculate EMA price column. Yes, that's because I read my sorry. It happened because I took the function from ChatGPT and I used it. So I'll just reuse my own function. I mean, I say it's my own, but actually it's ChatGPT's function. Okay. So now df with EMAs will look like this. You still have your timestamp open, high, low, close volume, but now you have your 5, 10, 50, and so on. Every EMA is calculated, actually. Okay. Every EMA is calculated, and now if you want to use the 250, you just select this column. Okay. So now that we finally have our data, the candles, plus the 4 EMAs, we want to backtest this strategy, to buy here and to sell here. So I asked ChatGPT to do 2 functions. The first one will go row by row. It's just here. It's called get EMA strategy trades, not vectorized. I will tell you what vectorized mean for those that don't know. So what I'm doing here is going row by row and seeing if there's an enter long, so buying condition. If yes, I buy. If there's a sorry, a -1, so it means a sell, you sell. Okay. So just do the same work row by row. I will make a little example in Google Sheets. It will be a bit more clear. So I'll remove this. And I will put a bit of white here. Okay. So in my data frame, I will have a function that will say for each row. So for example, there's EMA 5. It will be here. EMA 50, EMA 100. So if my EMA 5 is 500, I'm saying a random number. If EMA 50 is 400 and EMA 100 is 300, it means that the big EMA is the lowest, the middle one is above, and the small one is above every other EMA, actually. So that's the correct pattern that I want. So I will put it right just here. It will be a 1. My enter long column will be equal to 1. Okay. And as long as it is okay, it is verified, it will be 1. So here, I will have ones from here. Let's suppose it's okay to here. So the column will be equal to 1 all the way till here. Then this on this in this place it will be 0. Then it will be 1 again, and so on and so on. Okay. So what I'm telling my code to do is just go to close column here, 450. If my enter long equals 1, you buy at 450. Okay. and you wait till there's no more ones to sell. Yes, to sell. So the price here is 400. He will sell here. So basically what I want is a code that will do a, they will put a 1 here and a -1 here to buy and sell. Okay. 1 -1. Is it okay? Is everything okay up to this point? Don't hesitate if you have some questions. I know I can speak fast sometimes. Okay, if there is no remarks, I will continue. Okay. So I will try the vectorized, the not vectorized version of this code to see what it looks like. So just to show you the function before I launch it, not this one. Get data for EMAs. Yes, it's this one. So I just take my data frame. I copy it just to not ruin it. I don't want to pollute it, but it's not mandatory. And I just ask the data frame if you have your small period EMA that is higher than your second one, the second higher than the third one, and the third higher than the fourth one, then you say 1, else it's gonna be 0. Okay. And then I have my enter long column that will be the differentiation of this column actually. So what does diff mean? It means you take this value and you subtract it to the value above. No, you take this value and you subtract the value above to it, which means that in Excel it's gonna be this value minus this one. And I put it like this. So just by doing a diff method. Yes, someone wants to talk, I think. Okay, no, it must be a misclick. So 1 I buy here, -1 I sell. And ChatGPT, my algo will just buy here and sell here with a for loop. And let's launch it. I called it not vectorized. Let's see how long it takes. Okay. So the bar that is right here is generated with TQDM there. And it's really simple to use. I discovered it a few months ago and I've been using it every day. So if you want to use it, just do something like this. So I will not let it finish the 3 minutes because it's too long. I would rather launch my vectorized version. Okay. So just to present you the TQDM, which can be very helpful. Let's say you have I that goes from 0 to 100 and you print I. Okay, great, no problem. Now, if you want to add a bar, you just add TQDM at the left, your iterator, and a little description if you want. TQDM bar. And I can remove this. If you, I'll show you why I removed it. Pass. And so it just made them instantaneously. So here it says it took 0 seconds to finish the code. Now I removed the print because if you put print, it will do this. Okay, no, it didn't do anything. It's quite weird. I think Jupyter is different than Spider. Anyways, this is how you use TQDM. It's really nice. It's really nice. Back to our sheep, we saw that the not vectorized version with a for loop takes 3 minutes for 81 combinations of parameters. How long does the vectorized version take?
नहीं अब फोन करा थी आधा घंटा बाद एगो मीटिंग में
Are you talking to me?
George, you can continue. There
Okay,
was
okay.
slight interruption.
Okay, thanks. So now I'll try the vectorized version, and afterwards I will show you what's inside it. Okay, so it took about 1 second to complete the same backtest with the same data, but it's 100 times faster. We go from 3 minutes, 180 seconds to 1. So let's say 2 seconds because it took at least 2 seconds. That's at least 90 times faster. So this is a very important point. Vectorization is very important because even though Python is very slow compared to C or C++, if you vectorize your code, you can compete with the best languages. That's what I noticed and what I've been reading on the internet. So what does vectorizing mean? It means working on vectors, simply, just this. So if you have a list, like this, for example, okay, that's not the most beautiful list that exists, but no problem. If you have this list, instead of doing, if you want to add 1 to each element in the list, instead of adding 1 with a for loop, so for element in L, element plus 1, just use vectors, for example, numpy vectors. So it can still be iterated. I can still use for loops on it, but the main difference is that I can just use vectorized operations. If I just do +1, it will calculate the same calculus on every element in an instant, and that's really nice. You must aim at vectorization in every code. If some of you have already used vectorization, can you please put a thumbs up? Just to do my level stats to see the numbers. Okay. So at least one person uses vectorization. Okay. I will be adding a link above if you are interested in vectorization. I will put some lessons, some courses. Can be really nice. Personally, I'm learning vectorization techniques day by day. There's always something to discover. And I'd like to point out a small problem with ChatGPT is that if I told him to make this function the most optimized way, it won't necessarily think about vectorization. It may do the best for loops, but it will not think about vectorization until I ask it to do. Okay, so if you don't know about it, it will not even propose it to you. So this is why I said to you earlier that you first need to work your theory really good before you ask it some things. Okay. So we saw that the vectorized version was 100 times faster than the not vectorized version. Just for your info, the vectorized version is not that hard. What we do, I'll go to Excel to be a bit easier to read. So what I'm doing here is taking the rows that have 1, like this. I'm taking the columns that have -1. So basically the buys and the sells here. Every other column, I don't care. I can even remove them. There. Now, what I'm doing is I want this row, the close, so the time as well. Let's say it's time 1, time 4, time 7, time 9. Okay. What I want is this line, this row, to be next to this row. so that we have a trade. We opened here and we closed here. So I'll just take all the ones, I will put them together. So like this, with the close price. The other one, let's say it's 250, and here it's gonna be 450. I take my close, I put them next to each other, and then I take the zeros, and I put them with their own closes. So I just divide my data frame into two data frames, the buys and the sells, and I stick them together. I'm saying I, but actually it was ChatGPT that I've done it for me. So you see, we only keep the columns, the rows that have 1 and -1, so only the buys and the sells. Then I will take, I will say that my entries are the ones, the buys, my exits are the -1s, and then my entry time will be the entries timestamp, entry price will be the entries close, and same thing for the exit. So there was no calculus, there was no big mathematics. It was just simple selection of data. How to say it? We're just playing with the same data frame, and we have we resulted with this version. So it's really faster, and it's great. Let's see a bit the results just here. So you have your 4 EMAs, EMA 1, EMA 2, 3, and 4. How much capital I used in each trade, the number of trades that have been generated, final capital, P&L, and some KPIs. So a KPI is basically it's like a score. It's a function that will give you a number, and the number can be. It is up to you to interpret your number. So the P&L is one KPI that tells you how much money did you make or lose, profit and loss. The win rate tells you what's the rate of your winning. Here it means that 30% of my trades are winners, which is really low. It depends on strategies, but generally, if you say to someone that your win rate is above 70, you are really good. You're good. That's from my experience, at least. And the average win, 3%, 3.7%, average loss, and so on. So here it's sorted by final capital, so the final yield, but that's a amateur error because the final capital is not the only element to look at. There are a lot more KPIs to look at in the same time, but I won't be talking about this today because we don't have much time. So I just sorted them out by final capital. So the best strategy is with the 5, 40, 80, and 250 EMAs. It gave you 255 trades, which allowed you to do this capital at the end. And note that there is no fees and no slippage. So it's really a perfect world. That's
Hey, George.
another. Yes.
Sorry for interrupting. Can you
No
go
problem.
back to that vectorize function, please? So I got the filtration part, but yeah, I didn't get where was the vectorization applied in this method. So what you showed in Excel, right, was the filtration of the data of the actual data frame, right? Where you're just filtering the entries and exits.
Yes.
But since
Okay.
like you mentioned the vectorization piece,
Okay.
can
I'll go
you
back
just
to
show
Excel
that,
and
please? Yeah.
yes, sure. I will put a bit more details in this one. Let's put date, close, and enter long. The 3 columns that are necessary. Okay. So date will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not very important. Close, not important as well. 5, 3, 4. Okay. I will just make bigger numbers because I don't want to confuse with this one. So Alea on 50 and 100. There we go. I will copy this and paste as values. Okay, and let's put 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. Okay, so you have this at first. Well, actually, it's not another column. If I'm being correct, I'm being precise. It's called, sorry, EMA's optimal position. There. So up to this point, is it okay for you?
No, I understood what you did here, right, in Excel.
Okay.
I was just looking at the code and trying to understand where that, the vectorization piece was applied. Are you saying that in this case, when we're calling the vectorize function, what we are eventually doing is just filtering the data here?
Exactly, it's a sort of filtering. There's no calculus on the data.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay. No, because when you mentioned vectorization, you showed the NP array thing, right? And how we can use vectorization there. So I was just looking to see if we have something like that implemented in this function.
Mm-hmm. Yes, no, actually, no. You're correct. You're correct. There is no such thing that is implemented in this function. It was just a data manipulation.
Right. Okay.
Yes, I was just explaining what vectorization means and how it's used. But you're correct. That's right.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
No problem. Thanks to you. But for example, this is vectorized. This is vectorized, but it's used everywhere. So in order to get the yield, it's a nice example. But okay. Let's continue. So these are the results. I take the best results, so the 5, 40, 80, and 250. I get my best trades. And let's plot the capital evolution. This is just the capital evolution of the same trade. And just in order to tell you how I calculated it, let's go back to Excel. I will erase here. Oh, I can say here. Let's say you made trades with 5%, 6%, -2%, 3%, and -4. These are your yields. If you want to know how to multiplicate your capital by those numbers, so there's a lot of ways. My favorite one is just doing 1 plus this divided by 100. So what does it mean? You have $100. You made a trade and you exited. Now you have 110. By what number did you multiply 100 to get to 110? And that's 1.1. Okay, and this is what this is. So if I do the product that is cumulative on this column, so equals, is there no, okay, I'll just do the product, all the products at once. Okay, so it's 1.07. So when you multiply all these together, you get to 1.07. And so if you multiply your initial capital by this number, you get to your final capital. Sorry, but some problems with my function, with my formula. 107. So you made 7%. So this is the formula I used, except that it's cumulative. So it's the product step by step till the end. And this is how you get to 25K approximately. And we can also use Plotly, which is a nice little plotting library in Python, right over here, to plot interactive graphs. And let's use it. So what I plotted here is the open, high, low, close. So the candles actually, just like in TradingView. I plotted my EMAs and my enter and exits with triangles. Let's see. So you can move above, right, so on. You can zoom in. So here I can zoom in here. You can see that the green spots are the buys and the red spots are the sells. I'm gonna zoom a bit more. So here you can see that at this candle the 4 EMAs are aligned, so I buy. And then as soon as there's a cross down, I sell here. And so on and so on. So for example, here it crosses up again here, so I buy and I will sell. No, came close, sell here. So on and so on. So Plotly is really nice. It allows you to look at the graphs, to look at your data. Looking at your data is not enough to see if your data is okay or not, if there are problems, but it can be enough to see if there's a clear problem. For example, it happened to me once. I had some problems with my backtesting. There were a lot of outliers in my KPIs, a lot of high yields. So what I've done is I just plotted my data, and it was a mess. So you had prices that go up like this, and prices that go down and up and down, and the problem was that it was not sorted by date time. So the candles were not in the proper order. This is why it has done this. Excuse me, how much time do we have? I see it's already 58. I mean 58 in France. Excuse me? If anyone can hear me?
Hey George, yeah, we can hear you. I'm not sure if Kshitiz is on away or not.
Yes, I think we had 1 hour, and I've done one
Hi
strategy.
George, I'm there. So I was
Yes.
just on mute, so couldn't. Yeah, please.
Yes. How much time do we have?
You can take your time. No, it's not an issue. So I am receiving
Okay.
DM from people who are very much interested to continue. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Sure.
Sure. So this is the strategy with the 4 EMAs. It's a simple one. As I said, it's not a good strategy to use for yourself, but you can learn with it if you're starting in algorithmic trading, and it's really nice to understand the concepts and Python and everything, and especially to associate TradingView with Python so that you have the same things. Okay. Any questions on the first strategy? Okay, it seems that there is no questions. Let's continue to the Bollinger Bands strategy plus EMA. So, what does this strategy consist of? We saw in the first part that EMAs can help you to
Hey,
be in
George.
trends. Yes.
Just a second, right? Before we move on, can you just summarize the earlier strategy? So in my understanding, all you're doing is like coming up with 4 moving averages, and as long as they have a particular order, you're coming up with buy or sell decision, and then like based on that buy or sell decision, you're like multiplying it with the value, like the portfolio value, and then you're coming up with the end values of whatever the profit and losses are, right?
Exactly. Okay. That's it. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Sure. We can move on.
This strategy is one of the first one you can learn. If you go to YouTube and you type trading strategies, you will see this among the first strategies, and it is actually used, but not alone, because it will put you in a trend. What does it mean? That it means that if you're in an uptrend, the price is going up like this, and when you buy here, you have a higher probability to do a good trade than if you buy somewhere else like this, you know. So here the EMAs are the opposite order. So if you buy here, you are less probable to do a nice trade than here. That's just putting yourself in a trend. Now in the second part, what we are going to do is associate this strategy, this indicator, the 4 ones, with another indicator, which is Bollinger Bands. So what are Bollinger Bands? Let's plot the Bollinger Bands and see what they look like. Yeah, I don't have the premium version. And by the way, it's in French. Why? 5. Okay, let's remove the small EMA. You need to have the premium version of TradingView in order to add more indicators. Sorry about that. Okay, there you go. So I will put the EMAs to sleep and let's see what Bollinger Bands do. So we can see one curve, a second one, and a third one. What are the formulas of each one of them? So you place yourself at this candle, for example. Let's put here. I have a Bollinger Band period of 20 and a STD-dev of 2. What does it mean? It means that, first of all, I will take my 20 period, so 20 candles. Then I will calculate an SMA, a simple moving average, which is a blue line. Then I will, on the same candles, calculate not the mean, not the average, but the standard deviation, the STD. And I will put 2 times this STD, I will add them 2 times to my SMA. So the red line is SMA plus 2 times the standard deviation of the 20 columns, and so on, 20 candles, sorry, and so on and so on. Is that clear? I suppose it is. So we can at least do this strategy. I mean, not the strategy, but we can at least show the code for this one in Python by writing right now. So the calculus will apply on the close column. I think you have the option to do it on, yes, close. You can do it on the high, the low, and so on. But we will apply it on the close column. So I will call it this one df test for Bollinger. df.copy. So I don't want to ruin my df and pollute it. I just create a test one. So the F Bollinger test will have the same head, the same look. I take my close. I do a rolling method in Python. So what does rolling mean? Window equals, let's say, 5. Rolling means that you roll on a 5 rows, on 5 rows. So I will do this again. If I have a rolling of 5, I will take, first of all, the 5 first rows and calculate my value on the first row for these 5. Then I will roll downside, and I will take the 5 last rows and calculate my value, and so on and so on. On Excel, it would look like this. Let's erase everything. It's like a simple Excel formula, you know. I put any number. I call this column X, and this is rolling 5. So I will place myself at the 5th row because I don't have enough data at first to do a 5-period rolling. So I'm gonna calculate the mean. So in French, it's moyenne on the 5 first rows. Sorry, you have 3.6. Then you apply it on the 5 next columns, and so on and so on. I place myself here, and I look, it's the 5 last columns. So once again, I started doing this with for loops in Python a few years ago. I would place myself here, and I would do the mean, then the for loop will continue. And when I asked ChatGPT to give me a better version, it directly talked to me about the rolling method. And this is how ChatGPT can help you in your daily trades, daily Python programming. Okay, so now that you know what rolling means, you have to put the rolling in front of the column you're using, the Panda series it's called. And once you have your rolling, you're just selecting your 5 last rows. But now what we want is to calculate something on it. In this case, it will be the mean. There you go. The first 4 are NNs because there are not enough rows. And the 5th row will be the mean of the first 5 rows. Then once we have this, once we calculate the SMA, so Bollinger SMA, what we want is to calculate the STD, the standard deviation. And it will be the same thing, a rolling on 5, except here it will be STD. So no need for this. It's gonna be something like this. Bollinger upper curve. So the upper curve here will just be the SMA plus, so STD dev, just like TradingView 2, STD dev times the Bollinger STD. And we'll have the same thing for the below, for the lower one, but it just will be minus. There we go. And now if we look at our data, let's take the tail, the last part of our data frame, so that every column is calculated. So you have your Bollinger SMA, 95,000, the upper curve that is 96,000, and the lower one is 93,000. So it's always going to be above. The only way that they are going to be equal is that if the STD, the standard deviation, is equal to 0, which case the price didn't move for the last 10 or whatever periods. Okay, is that okay? So it's just moving average with moving standard deviation, and you add the standard deviation to your moving average once, twice, or whatever your STD dev is. Bit of water. Okay, so once again, I have a function for Bollinger, and it's right above. It's above. Calculate Bollinger Bands. So you see the mid period is the mean, the upper period is the rolling standard deviation plus the multiplier, and the lower period is the mid period plus minus, sorry, the standard deviation times the rolling STD. Okay, so we'll be using it. Now, what kind of backtest am I going to do? Just remove this, remove this. What kind of backtest am I going to do? I want to first try the Bollinger Bands alone. What happens if I buy using only the Bollinger Bands? One. 2, what happens if I use them with the EMAs? So like this. I only buy when the EMAs are like this, just like in the first part. What happens? Before I go into this, what strategy am I going to use with the Bollinger Bands? Well, I will just buy when the Bollinger Band close. No, when the price close is below the lower band. So I buy here, for example, because it means that the price has been pushing down a lot, just a lot. It has been pushing down a lot of volatility. And then I will sell once the price goes above the mid period and or the higher period. Okay. So in my YAML file, I have both possibilities. The mid one, the blue one, and the upper, the red. And I also have the parameter using EMAs, which allows me to use them. So to buy if I'm below the lower period and my EMAs are aligned, or just the Bollinger Bands alone. False. So once again, don't hesitate to interrupt me if I am unclear. Okay, so the full code is here. The function that will launch the codes is get Bollinger strategy trades vectorized. So I've directly vectorized it because you understood how important it was. No point in doing it twice with for loops. Okay, so I will launch the backtests. I think it was already launched because it took at least 4 minutes for 11,000 combinations. By the way, the combinations are a Cartesian product. Cartesian product. What does it mean? Well, I want to use EMA1, EMA2, EMA3. Let's stay with 3. Bollinger 1 and Bollinger 2 parameters. Let's say that EMA1 can take the values 1 and 2. Here it's going to be 5 and 10, 50, 60, 100 and 200. No, yeah, sure, why not? 1 and 2. So what's a Cartesian product? You will just take each elements and put them together. That's it. So first of all, you will have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 elements. So 2, 4, 8, 16, 32 elements. It's going to be 1, 5, 50, 100, 1. That's the first one. Then the second one is going to be 1, 5, 50, 102. I'm not going to do all of them, just to show you what it means. Then 1, 5, 50, 201. So this, 202, and so on and so on. That's the Cartesian product. If each parameter has some number of possible choices, we'll just multiply all these choices together, like I've done here, and we'll have the total number of combinations. Okay, so I have launched my backtests. It took 4 minutes to run. Now let's see the first 60 rows of this backtest. So first of all, we see that using EMAs is false. What does it mean? It means that the EMAs were not used. The algorithm find out that the best strategy, the one that gives us the highest final capital, is without EMAs. So here all the values are the same because even though the EMA are changing, the Bollinger period and STD are not changing. So the values are the same all the way down. If I continue if I go a bit lower, let's choose the 100 and 160, for example. And here it's starting to change. So here the EMAs were used, and so on and so on. So if we quickly look at the win rate, now it's 71% with an average win of 0.6% and average loss of almost -1%. So the win rate is way better here, but the risk reward is not very good. It means that you more often your trades are winners, but each time you lose more than when you win. That's what it means. Let's go back to the first 60 rows. So win rate of 70%, and here you have the same problem. You see, the risk reward here is even worse, 0.5. But what saved us is the number of trades. Because if you repeat this pattern long enough, you will still be winner. The Bollinger Band indicator chose to how to say this, to exit trades at the upper period, so at the upper curve. And I wonder if it was the same thing below. Okay, so here's everything is upper period. Okay, so the best numbers are hit with okay, here it's mid period. So once again, the way I am looking at my numbers here is very amateurish, because I'm just looking at some numbers and my final capital and sorting out. So you need to note that that's not how pros do. There are very important KPIs such as Sharp, SQN, Sortino, that you can look on internet. I will also be adding links. It will be important for you. But what I'm showing you is how to generate backtests and the data, and to have them in front of you so that you can analyze it. Okay. So that being said, the strategy with Bollinger periods alone has generated the most capital. And I think it was 25K with the first strategy. Now it's 32K. Let's have a look on the strategy, the how it's called, indicators and the trades. So the Bollinger Band standard deviation is 1. This is the best one. And this is why it's really hard to see it on the graph. If I zoom in, you will see the Bollinger Band. You see it here, the gray curve. If I increase a bit my standard deviation, I will put it at 2. And it should be a bit more visible. Yes, it's a bit more visible. So let's find a buy signal, no buy signals here. Using EMAs is false. I want to buy at the lower period, 5. Let's put this at 10 and launch again. Okay, we have a bit more trade. So here, the candle goes down the lower period, so we buy. Here there's another signal, but it's not really a buy since we are not yet closed. And here we go out. We exit the trade since our close is above the upper period. the upper period, yes, and so on and so on. So Plotly is a really nice tool to visualize your data, and especially in trading, you can use this tool to plot candlesticks. It's really good. It's really, really good. Just don't put too much candles at once. Otherwise, it will bug. And let's take a look at our capital evolution this time. So, as I said before, there are a lot of trades, 1,000 and 1,900. So this is why it's very fractal. Like you can see a bit some fractal here, and otherwise the strategy just goes up. But there are no fees and no slippage. So I guess if you put some fees, it will go down. And we can do this right now. We can put some fees right now. Since it's finished, just put some fees. Let's put 0.05% fees. I will take this. So if I go back here, I made 5%, 7%, and minus 5%. This will be 1 plus this divided by 100. So this is your multiplier without fees. It means that if you've done a 5% $100, you multiply your 100 by 1.05, and you have $105 at the end. Now, if you want to put fees, the fees will be 0.05% per transaction, which means when you buy, there are fees, and when you sell, there are fees. This will be equal to this times 1 minus your fees divided by 100 squared, because you do it twice. And so your real yield is 4.8 and not 5. It's not a big difference, but on a long enough run and with a strategy that has very low where your average win is very low, you will get eaten. So the strategy will have a different head. Let's add that here. So I think it will work if I just do it like this. 1 minus fees divided by 100. And I need to insert it inside the comprod, the cumulative products. So here. And I will close this. Well, now let's see invalid syntax. Okay, 1 minus fee divided by 100 times this, and you have this, yeah. So you see now we went from winning to losing. So if I put my fees at 0, if I put my, yes, it's because it's not the same, Okay, I go back to 1 and 5. So the fees are at 0. Yes, here's the curve. This was our original curve. Now, if I put back the fees at 0.05, you go from 30K to 12K. So most of your gains, your earnings have been eaten. So in 3 years, since my data is on 3 years, you only earned $2,000. Well, to me, it's not a good strategy unless you have $100 million. At least not the way I used it. So if I want to conclude on these two strategies, I would say that using them the way I use them, well, even though it was just for the show, is not good. You need to add more KPIs, more parameters in here, more parameters, and you need to be aware of bias. What is bias? It means that if I take this period to backtest my data, I must not be surprised if all my trades are winning. I can buy anywhere and sell anywhere. I will win most of the time. Okay, so you need to have long enough data so that you have the dips, the ups, and everything, and yeah, take into consideration the fees and the slippage, and you should be okay. And this is my conclusion for now. So do you have any questions since I have finished the presentation?
People, do you have any question? I think no. So if you have any question, you can always ask in the group. And so George, do you have any suggestion for those who are, entering into algorithmic trading for the first time?
Yes, so it was an interesting experience since I never tested these two strategies. So I found the one that I used them, and it was quite fun to code, especially with ChatGPT. And then I would like to add what I already said. So use ChatGPT, but you have to know what you're doing. So you're the architect, and ChatGPT is the worker. Yeah, yes. And don't hesitate to really understand trading strategies in depth and theory, because as you see here, I just added a bit of fees and I got eaten. So you need to really be careful about bias and all the rest. So I will be sharing my GitHub that contains all the data that is needed to run this Jupyter. I will add some links inside this Jupyter above. Here, I will add some links. Even the spider will be in my Jupyter. So if you need anything, you can just write me a message on the group in WhatsApp or in GitHub. I don't know if you can write messages, but if you can do it, it will be a pleasure to help you. If you have any questions regarding this presentation, don't hesitate as well to send me a message. And this is what I had to say. It was a pleasure to present this topic to you guys.
Thanks a lot again, George, because you accepted this, invite in the first, because, many a times we are approached by students and working professionals because there are not a lot of resources and there are not a lot of people who turn to, help individuals through sessions and all. So it was really a great session from your side, and I'm getting a lot of feedback from students who are, who want to enter into algorithmic trading or quant trading, and they want to take it ahead. So I hope you will be able to reply to them in the WhatsApp group or basically anywhere in your personal capacity. Thanks again, man. It was a great session.
No problem. Thank you again. If anyone has questions, don't hesitate. Yes, I will reply to you.
Yeah.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Siddesh.
No problem. Well, then have a nice evening. I think it's more than 8 p.m. in India.
Yeah, and yeah, so it's already night. I think they will be having
Yes.
dinner. So that's why we did not have much attendance, but I'm sure they will be going through the recording because they are asking about the recording.
Okay, great,
Sure.
great.
Okay, yeah. Thanks a lot again.
Hello,
Thanks.
George.
Yes.
Yeah, bonjour, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Thanks for the talk. Yeah, so I just had a few questions, maybe not related to algorithmic trading in specific, but the tools of like using Chat GPT, etc., which I also do in not just trading, anything in general. It helps, but you were right when you said that it is some things could be false positives
or I mean we don't know like if there are other ways of doing it. So it's better to use it when we know about it, and not just like some random things. But what I wanted to ask is basically, so it's good when, let's say, I am doing it on my own or working on some side project. Apart from chat gpt, I can also have like few other like code generation platforms, or because these people in SF are always coming up with new AI products, right? But what happens is that you get used to it. But I just wanted to ask, like in work, are you allowed of like to doing this, like, or for example, this is a website, so you can open it maybe in your work PC. But let's say you, instead of ChatGPT, you are using some sort of app which is basically some wrapped around GPT in your own PC, but in your work PC you cannot do that because, yeah. So I'm just asking, how do people look at it when you are using it, or yeah, I mean, because
Yes.
I love using it because it just saves time, because it's like calculator only, nothing else. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's a great topic. So to answer you, when I was working in a company, like, a normal company, we were actually encouraged to use ChatGPT, especially by my peer data scientist. He encouraged everyone to use ChatGPT, and he've done presentations. He said, use ChatGPT; it will make you will win some time. But he insisted on the security aspect. Do not put some secret data or some, if you're asking questions to ChatGPT, always put false data, like replace the names by Bob or stars or whatever. Don't say who's the company and so on. But yeah, it's a great tool to use in your daily life. You will not lose time with it. And and as you said, yes, you have to know what to ask it. Because ChatGPT will use internet actually. It will use what's on the net to answer you. So if the topic that you are looking for does not exist, you will be very limited. So you have to use it in a smart way. Did it answer your question?
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
No
Um,
problem.
yeah, I just, I mean, I thought I had more questions, but I sort of like blanked out. I mean, maybe I'm just like, this sort of things doesn't look very difficult because you make it look like that. But I'm just asking, like, what are the things like companies look for when you are entering it? Because, yeah, I mean, eventually you are not using much, but I guess they will test you a lot on a lot of things. Or maybe you could talk about like projects, what we can do. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So how do companies view it, right? If I understood, how do companies view your using of ChatGPT? Is that your
No, no,
question?
no. Like, I mean, no. This question is not about GPT. It's about a role in algorithmic trading.
Mm-hmm.
So, it needs a lot you to be quantitatively advanced and mature and all that. But eventually, in your work, uh, I mean, it's more about coding and all that, and not much of like finance or like in the risk roles, etc. But so what I'm asking is, like, when companies, what do they look for in a candidate, or let's say if you like look for from candidate's point of view, what can he put up in his portfolio, or how can he like sell him as a like a candidate to be good at it, like, or like, let's say I'll hire me because I stand out or something like that.
Okay.
So
Okay, I see. Up until now, all the tests that I've been doing for companies that where I was a candidate, so I was a candidate to several quant and algorithmic trader posts. I mean jobs, and there is this pattern that I've detected. Most of the tests are like this. First test is a pure Python test, so it's gonna be a lot of lists, a lot of data frames, no finance involved actually. It can be a fictional data frame with fictional data. The taxi has this much passengers at each time of the day, and so on and so on. And they will ask you questions like group them by the day and see which day has the most passengers, when did he make the most money, and so on and so on. So no finance in the first tests in general, in France at least. And then the second test, there's a bit of algorithmic trading, but it looks a lot like what I've just showed you right here. So it will be something like code a strategy that will buy when there is this moving average above the other one and sell then. Calculate the drawdown, calculate the sharp. Uh, so it's a bit like what I've just showed you, but a bit more KPIs and so on, but it's not more difficult. It's the same difficulty actually. And once you have passed these two tests, generally this is where you start doing the interview with them, like face to face, for example. And this is where you start talking math and pure finance. But I'm talking for France at least. So they first want to sort out those that know Python and don't know Python, and then they will see if you truly are strong in the finance world.
Thanks a lot again, George. So basically, I think we are nearly into the session. If anyone does not have any question,
Mhm.
so I think thanks everyone for attending, and wish to see you again, George, in the sessions ahead to help everyone. Thanks again.
Thanks everyone. See you. Bye bye.
Bye, George. Thank you.
Yeah, bye all, man.
Bye bye.